Dozo and yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Loco from Loco Martinez Otaku Science here. And we got something really special for you today. We are going to disassemble and talk about this very special CIA model, the Mosin-Nagant 9130, which has been rearmed or rearsenaled by the Central Intelligence Agency for West African groups fighting Firestone for control of rubber resources and plantations. The CIA had reason to believe that Firestone was cooperating with the Russians, the Soviet Union. The way they wanted to handle Firestone was to kind of cut the veins. They wanted to get the lifeblood of Firestone, which was the rubber in Liberia and other West African countries. They decided that they wanted to go with Nestle instead, who was trying to make a move in on the West African rubber market. This is really where the heart of this all comes from. So this is an original 1942 9130 Mosin-Nagant produced in the Soviet Union, which was captured by American soldiers during the secret occupation of Vladivostok. The markings indicate that it's from the Tula factory and is a standard Mosin-Nagant 9130, at least that's what you would think. Now, when the CIA captured these from the hero city of Vladivostok during the secret occupation, they decided it would be useful to have some Russian firearms, which they could modify, even improve, and send around the world to various rebel groups, and that would implicate the Soviet Union in some of these conflicts so as to keep Firestone from finding out that the CIA was actually cooperating with Nestle on this, and that, it was Soviet Union rebels. But in reality, this is not your regular Mosin-Nagant 9130. This was re-arsenaled here. This was re-arsenaled by the CIA, and we're looking at model number 99206. So 206 of these were made, and they were expected to last until 1999, and you're going to wonder, last until 1999? This is 2022, it's still here. Well, this was an unused rifle, so it was not used in any of the Firestone-Nestle conflicts, but it was designed for the same purpose as the other firearms that were used, and we're going to go ahead and do a disassembly and show you how this thing works and a couple of its special characteristics, such as the powderless 5.56 experimental cartridge used to silence this thing. So disassembly is going to be your standard Mosin-Nagant disassembly. You're going to want to open up the bolt here, holding down the trigger, and that takes the bolt right out. So the standard bolt disassembly, you're going to turn the bolt back into position. You're going to pull off, bolt head there, and container, and then what you have left is just the bolt with the camming system in place. We're going to be talking mostly about the special features of the CIA re-arsenal, so if you want to know more about a standard Mosin-Nagant 9130, you're going to have to look for that elsewhere. Standard Mosin-Nagant 9130 bolt, here's your fire pin, and what's special is, like I said, this shoots experimental powderless 5.56. You'll also note that the iron sights here have been converted. You'll see these numbers here, and this is not kilometers. This is a special West African measuring distance, and the reason they did this is because the marksmanship of these Liberian militias was so legendary that they were actually able to fire 200 yards away. So the maximum distance on this thing is going to be 200 yards. Let's see if you can see the iron sight picture on that. So that would get you up to 200 yards, and these guys were real pros with this thing. They would, imagine a football field, imagine one football field. 200 yards is 2 football fields. They were kicking field goals that no punter or kicker could ever even fathom with this thing. So we're going to continue disassembly here, and that's going to require our tool, which is also the bayonet that is used. And the first thing we're going to want to do is get the cleaning rod out, which on the CIA model, this is not a cleaning rod because the powderless ammunition, you don't really need it. You don't really need a cleaning rod at all with this stuff. Pretty special rifle that's firing a pretty special round. When you shoot this thing, you're only hearing the firing pin. So when these rebels would sneak up on Firestone factories, they'd take out the workers, and the workers are thinking, these guys are dropping like flies. They weren't just dropping, they were getting taken out by the specialist militia. And the specialist militia would actually count their kills in a pretty gruesome way. These things function also as an antenna for the gun, and their radio men would catch the data from this antenna and mark the number of kills. And that's how we know that this firearm was not used at all. Either the marksman was unable to get any kills with this to hit anyone, which I find highly unlikely because, like I was saying, these West African militias were able to hit targets 200 yards with this firearm. This was likely never used, and we know that for that reason. So once we have our bolt disassembled and out, we have our cleaning rod out, the first thing we're going to want to do is use our tool here to loosen and get these bands off. And once you get that loose, you can wiggle it out. Here's our first one off. That's going to hang there. Keep it in spot with the front sight post. This one back here is a bit more difficult to get off. You're going to have to use the depression there to allow it to move, and you can use that and your special tool. Push that. It's a little dangerous because this thing is a weapon. I personally think the CIA could have done a better job here with the rifle bands. And there you go. Same thing with that one, they're just going to hang there. Once you've done that, you're able to take off the barrel shroud at the top there, which is actually made out of real West African tropical wood. So then what you're going to want to do is we're going to want to take out our magazine here. We're going to use our special tool again. That seems like it's out. There we are. So got that out. We have our other screw right here we're going to take out. This thing is receded. Okay, and that right there allows us to take the magazine out. So we've got our magazine out. We've got the trigger mechanism, the barrel here. This is tied in from that little screw. Okay, take that out, and there's the screw. And there you have the stock of the rifle. It's a powerful stock. It was actually reinforced. We could take the butt plate off, but that is actually what houses the electronics of the radio system. We don't want to expose that to oxygen. There you have that, and then you have the barrel. This is, believe it or not, just an original Mosin Nagant 9130 barrel. We could disassemble it further with the trigger mechanism, but this is some very intricate technology and a very old gun, so we don't want to do that. And that is the CIA Special Mosin Nagant 9130. A really special gun. We were very happy to get our hands on here at Loco Martinez's Otaku Science. It's a special donation for the episode. We're going to have to send it back, but the Japanese Self-Defense Force, which captured these from rebels during the UN operation to pacify the Nestle Firestone conflict, the fighter jets, they would come in and they would shoot missiles and they would hit the guys, and then they got some of these. And from some of the armories, they were able to capture these. And there's normally a sling that would go in here, and they would put the sling on the planes, on the wings of the plane, and they would come back and then they would land and they would have these like wings with a ton of these and they got back. So they were able to donate that to us to do some otaku science on it. Really just a wonderful rifle, a priceless artifact even. If you ever get the chance to shoot one, it's mind-blowing. Because I tell you, this is what it sounds like. This is exactly what it sounds like. You ready to die, you fucking Firestone motherfucker? Ah! It would sound exactly like that. The click of the firing pin is all you hear when you fire this gun. If I put blank in that right there, and our hostage was still right there, the hostage would be just fine, and it would sound exactly the same. So, great gun. Thanks for tuning in to this special episode of Otaku Science. We'll catch you next year when we'll have another very, very special surprise.